Thank you for joining me and welcome to a whole new build series, and this is an exciting one for me because I'm going to do something that I haven't done before, which is to film the whole process of a commission build. So that's what this series is going to do. We're going to go right from the design through to the completed project, and I hope you'll join me for the whole thing, all of which starts here. And I should just mention that the customer for this guitar does have a YouTube channel and is happy for me to link through to that channel, so from the next episode I'm going to do that. So while I'm cutting out the template, I thought it might be nice to talk through how we arrived at this point. I came home on a Saturday a couple of weeks ago to a really nice email that said, I've seen your content on YouTube and I've seen the stuff that you produce. Can we arrange a chat because I'm interested in potentially ordering a guitar? And what he's looking for is an original design semi-hollow guitar with that classic Telecaster sound. So those of you that know the channel will know I was probably excited at that point. So I think I produced about 6 designs, which I mocked up with Tele hardware and sent those over to him. 2 of which he liked the look of and said, can we refine these 2? Which I did, and sent those 2 back, and he then narrowed it down to 1, and I did 3 final designs of that one to land us at this point where I've got something he's really happy with. We've had a couple of video chats at this point and been all through the types of stuff that he plays, the amount of gain that he plays with, the amp setup that he has, and what guitars he currently plays and feels comfortable. So I've got a really good idea of how this needs to sound and feel, which is fantastic. The other part is that he'd like the overall look and feel of it to be really dark and to use an ebony fretboard, which is great because it gives me a starting point for thinking about the wood and the aesthetics. The other part that we agreed right at the start was to be honest rather than being polite, which is part of the reason why we landed on a shape so quickly, because he gave some really good and really clear feedback on what it is that he liked and didn't like. Okay, let's get this cut and drawn on. I've got 2 templates that I've got to make. The first is for the outline of the body, and the second one is the routing template for where I'm going to take the material away for the semi-hollow. Let's get that cut. We have a shape which actually looks really good. Once you translate something from 2D into 3D, you can see how that actual design transfers onto wood, and it's quite surprising the amount of times that you do need to make some small changes, but that looks really good as it is. The next thing I need to do, because this is going to be a semi-hollow guitar, before I make that routing template for where I'm going to take all the material out of the body, I just need to understand exactly where all the hardware is going to sit. And that starts with the scale length. I've drawn on here where my neck pocket's going to go to. So all I need to do here is to measure from the nut 25.5 inches, which is 64.8 centimeters, but I add a couple of millimeters on so that I don't end up intonating backwards. I always do that on this scale length. And now that we have both the center line on the template and the scale length marked, I can work out everything else from there. This guitar will be getting a modern style Tele bridge with the individual saddles. So I know the dimensions of those, so I'm going to start by marking up the bridge and the pickups, and then I'll come on to the controls. Okay, the controls I know I can reposition slightly because I will leave plenty of clearance to play with, but I just want to know at this point that it's going to work out okay. So the material that I'm going to need to take away for this is that I'm going to have a nice swooping sound hole here. So this whole top half I'll hollow out. I'll leave about 8mm around the edge, so I've got a reasonable surface to glue onto and to cut into in order to do the binding, because this will be double bound. And for this section I'll just hollow out this cavity here, because all of this routing and this routing will be done from the top, but the control cavity will be done from the back of the guitar. Okay, this one is all marked up now, and I'm happy with where those cavities sit. I'm going to give myself a couple of 90-degree lines off the centre line just to make sure all my measurements are correct. That's all marked up and it looks good. I've checked it against this one, so let's go ahead and get this cut, and then I'll have a bit of a chat about why I've taken what I have from some areas and left bits in others. That is both templates complete, so let's give you a look at this one. You may take a look at the design and think that there's only one sound hole, so it seems a bit unnecessary to take wood from here unless it's to reduce the weight of the overall guitar, but actually it's just to change the balance of the guitar. So by taking material out from here, it leaves the majority of the wood, aside from the central section, down in this part here. And what that basically does is just to move the balance of the guitar down this way, so there's less chance of any neck dive. This section here I can decide whether to route out or not after I've done these two and have the body mocked up with a neck. So those are ready to go. The next thing that we need to do is to agree on which woods we're going to use for the guitar, and I have some really good options to send through to him, but that's going to be for the next episode. So as always, thank you very much to everybody that likes and subscribes and comments. I do really appreciate it, and I'll have a new episode soon.